All right. So we have already used this CSV module, or you cannot. These are the already predefined terms. You cannot change these names. Okay. Suppose you are modifying CSV1 or CSV2, that will not work because these are already predefined keywords. You should know about the modules and then only you can use that module in your code. Otherwise, you cannot use randomly. That is first point. Second point is that when you are using the module, you should know about the uh, use of that module. That means what methods are available in that module and how you can use that method. Say for example, if you can remember, we have used import math, that's a module, and we can print math dot py. If you run this, sorry, can anyone tell me where is the problem? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me where is the problem, why it is not running?
I think you said it is an inbuilt that it cannot be changed. Is it?
Which one?
You said it is inbuilt that it cannot be changed. Is it?
No, inbuilt is the Python module names, that is the math or CSV, but I have not changed the math, right? Math is there. I have not changed math 1 or math 2, but then I am trying to print the pi value and I have written this, but I am not getting the output, but I am getting some error. Why is so? Now here it is clearly said that module math has no attribute capital P, capital I. So you should know about the use of this math module. If you write this, so then you are getting this math module and pi value from the math module. Can you see this 3.14? So that's why, and you cannot change this one also. You cannot change the math name. So no module name math1. So this kind of thing will happen if you are trying to modify these methods names or the module names. So beforehand, you should know about these modules when you are trying to use this kind of predefined module and their methods. Okay. Now suppose I have already told yesterday that there is a file like CSV emp.csv. So let's go back and check what is it. So suppose this is a emp.csv file and all the entities in that file are separated by comma. So serial number, comma, name, comma, contact, and these are the serial number 1, 2, 3, 4. Names are X, Y, Z, V, and contact are this number. This is a simple test file. It is comma separated value file. Okay, comma separated. All the elements are separated by comma here. Now, if your aim is to read the lines of this CSV file and you want to print that thing, okay, just for a test purpose. So what you can do, you can open this file with open options, or you can just directly write f equal to open, no problem with that. But if you are using this method, so then all the next lines should be inside that block. So please keep in mind, when you are trying to open the file with open option, so then you need to maintain the indentation. That means all the next lines should be in the block, in one block. Otherwise, it will not run. Okay. So you are opening the CSV file with read mode, and your file handler is F here. Now you are storing all the materials of this file here in this variable, that is CSV underscore reader. So you can check that it is used that CSV dot reader. So CSV, here CSV is this module name. Okay. Then this is a method dot reader, so which is actually reading the lines from the CSV file. So this code is already written in Python program. You are not writing any code to read this file, but you are using the module from the CSV you are using the reader method from the CSV module. Okay. And in the argument, you are passing this file handle. So obviously, this module will read each of these lines of the CSV file, and it will store here. Okay. So next, you are just printing all the lines from CSV reader. So that is easy. You know how to use for loop. So for line in CSV reader, print line. So if you run, you will get that exactly the similar lines are printed. Okay. So these are comma separated. All the strings have been printed here. Now you can change these things. You can manipulate this CSV file. Suppose you want to access only this column, or you want to access only these rows. This can be done. This can be done by simple logic, like these three lines are same. I have not changed anything. You can check that. The same line. You are just reading and you are storing this content in the CSV reader. Now next, you are writing for line in CSV reader, print line 0, comma line 2. So you can check that all these things are like a list element, right? This is separate list, this is separate list, this is separate list, like this. Now, when you are instructing that print line 0, so that means what? From this, what will be the line 0?
First line.
First line, and what will be the line 2?
Third line.
So you are saying that for line in CSV reader, print line 0, line 2, it will print this line and this line. Is it so?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's check that. So it is printing actually the opposite thing. So that means it is printing the first column and the third column, not the rows, right?
Sir, please re-explain. I'm not getting it, sir. Because line when is 0, it's supposed to be S1, comma, name and contact. So why did we? I don't. Please re-explain, sir.
Yes, so I am saying that if we are trying to write this line 0, so take one example first, so that it will be easier. Suppose we are writing for line in CSV underscore reader, so we are writing line. Okay. So what you are getting? You are getting all these things. Okay. Just like this. Can you see this? Exactly same output. I have not changed anything. I have just printed the line. Now, when I am fixing the position, when I'm fixing the position of the first element of each line, okay, I am fixing the position of first element of each line. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
It is the index position. So then when the CSV reader this from this CSV reader the for loop will run, so it will go to the first line and it will check which one is the first element, right? So this SL, so it will print that SL. Next, it will iterate over that file again. It will go to the next line. It will find that which one is the line 1, line 0 in that line. So there it will find 1. So it will print 1. Again it will reiterate. So the third line it will go and it will find that the first element of that third line is 2 and it will print that. So you are getting this. All right. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And similarly, if I am after comma, I am just placed another position, that is line 2. So what it will print, you can guess that 0, 1, 2. So this column will be printed. Okay. I think now it is clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So next, okay, sometimes I told you that sometimes during the calculation part, we don't want that this header line is present, because that will be a problem. If you are trying to add this column value, so this string will interfere with that calculation. So you better practice is you should skip this first line or header line. If you know that file structure, so you can skip this file header. How you can do that? That is next CSV. Okay, next CSV. So I am running this here. So next CSV reader. So that means first line will be omitted. And if you run this, you are getting that this is, though it is showing here, but it is actually will not reflect in your output, because you can see that this is outline out, because see here why you can see this, you are running it from Jupyter notebook. If you are using another uh, IDE, so there you will not see this kind of uh, lines, because you have already instructed that you skip this line. But here in Jupyter notebook, that is mentioned that this is a outline and you have skipped this line. Okay, that's all. But what it is printing, only this values. Okay, only these values are printed, and which is a separate thing. You can check that here all these things has been printed. Okay, but here only this line is showing that this is outline. Don't go to the details of this thing, otherwise it will be confused. So you just you can check it from different IDE, and then it will be more clear to you. Suppose the same example I am taking again to just change the column position. Okay. Now, if I am writing this for line in CSV reader, print line 0, line 1, and line 2. So exactly same output you are getting, isn't it? What was there comma separated, now you are printing the element without comma. So by default that is space. Can you see the difference? Because you have separated this thing. Okay, you are printing each of these elements from that file. All right. And if you are trying to remove the header, so you can just add one more line, next CSV reader. So all the next lines will be printed, not this line. Okay. Anyway, I think this is the simplest example how we can use the CSV file. Now I am going back to that file. Yes. So this one. Okay. Now check. This is another example. Suppose I have created b1.csv file that is already there. b1.csv. This file, exactly similar structure. All the elements are separated by comma here, line by line. So you can check that. Marker ID, lane amp for sec, comma, motif amp for sec. So these are the marker ID, then comma, then some length, and then some motif and their amplification number. Okay. Now, if you are trying to get the total or the average of this length, okay, suppose you want to calculate, you can easily do that. You will open it as an Excel and you can just simply use the average formula in that Excel file and you can directly get this output 190.6. That is very easy job, no problem with that. You don't need to write this code at all. But the problem is when your file size will be large. Suppose this kind of 1 GB data you got. Okay, 1 GB data of such CSV file you got, and then from the third column or fourth column, you need to identify the length, you need to identify the average of that column values in that large file. Or suppose you have given this small files and that is in number, let's say 1,000 such files are there in a folder, and you need to calculate each of these second column average number. So do you think that you open the Excel file, you paste these values, you calculate this and then copy and then paste in another file 1,000 times, right? So there this kind of small codes will be very valuable, because if you can write it perfectly for one time, and if you can check that it is perfectly working for the same file and you are getting the same output, exact perfect output, so then you can run it on the large file or large sets of files. So then in one go you can generate the result. You don't need to do the same boring job 1,000 times. Okay, so that's why such programmings are very much useful. And you can change, you can modify the position or the values as per your choice. Suppose you the column you are interested in first column. So if you know the programming, very basic programming, so that at least you can change the parameter here in this code. Okay, even if you are not a good programmer, even if you are not a good programmer who is experienced, who has experience in long developing codes, but if you have some basic knowledge, so then uh, from some code, at least you can tweak the values, at least you can modify some values inside the code so that you can use as per your requirement. Okay, so that's why you should know the basics of Python, which will help you in future. Many times you will get some software, okay, which are which run in command line mode. So in that case, if you know how to use this parameter, how to change these parameters in command line mode, so it will be easy to use. Otherwise you need one assistant or one more programmer who can help you in that regard. Okay, so if you want it to do it independently, so you should know such kind of basic things. That much I can say. Okay, say for example here the same exact thing you are doing. So what you have done, you have opened this file and see, we have already imported this module, otherwise it will not run. So csv.read.f, exactly same 3 lines I have written, nothing else, and I've already skipped this line. Okay, then what is your aim? Your aim is to find out these first column, second column values, right? You want to collect this second column value. Obviously, when you are collecting the values, so you need to store these values somewhere else. So that's why another variable you should declare first. So that is list uh, variable, and which is blank, which is empty. Okay, as this list is to be used next, so you are defining this earlier. Otherwise, if you are trying to directly use that list, it will say that list is not defined. So you are defining the list here. Now similarly, if you run the same line for line in csv reader print line, okay, so this is printing purpose, this is not uh, required. So what you are trying to get, you are trying to get the second column. Okay, so you know that second column elements are in this format, line 1, right? And now you are just appending these elements inside this blank list. So the syntax is list dot append within parenthesis line within third bracket 1, bracket open, bracket close. All right, so this much is done. Next, what you are doing, you are closing this file what we have opened earlier, this bo1.csv, because this objective of this file is done. You have read the file, you got this list, and you can close this file, no problem with that. Now next part is very easy. You know the list elements right now, right? Say for example, I'm just closing this line and I print the list now. Okay, so omit this line because this is I explained earlier that is for you have already skipped this heading. If you are not using, so you can see okay, so this is already running. I need to block these lines also. Now you can check that all the elements from the second line is printed right now. Not second line, second column, right? Can you follow this? Only the second column elements are printed if you are appending those elements in the blank list. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now mm, I am closing this print and opening the other prints. Now, if I am trying to add these elements, okay, using for loop, so we have already done that. For element in range 0 comma length of that list, total equals total plus integer value of list element. So that we can write how we can add the elements of a list. There is a simple use of for loop. We have already done that thing. Okay, but and what will be the average? So you are getting the total and you are dividing the length of that particular list. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are dividing. But if I am running in this step, so let's check what will happen. It is showing that value error. Why so? Because we have not what is that problem? Skip this line, right? The header line, that means that what was that line? This one. So this len amp for sec, this string is also there in that list. You have not skipped this line. That's why you are getting some error. If you on this line, so that header line will be skipped and only the values will be there. So there will be no problem with this code. It will run perfectly and you are getting the output here 190. Okay. So this is the average. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So this much of CSV file handling. Now I would like to give you some tasks and let me explain the task first. Open the file. Yes. Yes. So this is the problem based on some statement like use, for, split, and if to create a statement that will print out words that start with S. Suppose this statement is given, this sentence is given, print only the words that start with S in this sentence. Okay. So a code you will write using this for, split, and if, and that code will print the words which starts with A. For example, this start, S, and sentence. Okay. So only 3 lines of code you need to write, nothing else. That is one job. Second is use range to print all the even numbers from 0 to 10. This is one liner code. How you can use the range function to find out the even numbers from 0 to 10. Okay. So list comprehension, there is a generator kind of thing which is known as list comprehension. You can use this to create a list of all numbers between 1 to 50 and that are divisible by 3. So you can try this because I can remember that I have only mentioned that list comprehension one day in some aspect. So you can use that thing. If you cannot do this, I will check this one. I will explain this thing in the next class. Then next problem is go through the string below, and if the length of a word is even, print even. Okay, so that means this is the given sentence. Print every word in this sentence that has an even number of letters. Now you need to write one code which will check every word length. Okay, and if it is even, so then it will print that suppose which is the even word length, this one, word. So it will print word is even. Okay, then it will check that in, so it will print in is even. So by this way it will print only the even length words. Clear? Got it? What you need to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next problem is write a program that prints the integer from 1 to 100, but for multiples of 3 print fees instead of the number, and for the multiples of 5 print bars. For numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5, print fees bar. So this is an algorithm. This is a small code. So try to understand this logic. That program will print the integers from 1 to 100, but for multiples of 3, suppose 1, 2, 3. So when it will come to 3, it will print fees instead of the number. Okay, so it will print 1, 2 fees. Then again it will print 4, and then it is saying that for multiples of 5 print bar. So instead of 5 it will print bar. So 1, 2, 3 fees, 4 bars. Okay, then it will print 6 or what? Then it will print 6 or what? Because multiples of 3 is 6, so it will print fees, isn't it? For 7 it will print 7. But when the number is multiple of both 3 and 5, suppose when it will reach to 15, that is multiple of 3 and 5, so there it will print fees bar. Okay, by this way you need to print all these integer from starting from 1 to 100. Got it?
Sir,
Yes.
please, can you do example of this?
Okay, so you need to see the output, right? You want that.
Because you are saying this thing you are saying, as in, I'm not clear with it. You said instead of 4, it will bring boss. In replacement of 5, it will be feast boss. So it's like
Yes.
magic. Please, just do example. Please.
Okay, just wait a second. Showing the output. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can we do it by if else?
Of course, you need to use if else.
But when the number is multiple of both 3 and 5, then what can we use?
So then you need to check both the conditions whether it is true. That means if something and something, you can check both these parameters by using and. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So let's check the output. Yeah, can you see this output? So
Yeah.
1, 2, then 3, that is fees. Then it is printing 4. In case of 5, it is printing buzz. In case of 6, it is printing again fees. 7, 8, 9 fees, 10 bars, like this. And when 15, so it is printing fees bar. Okay, and again 16, 17, again 18, so which is a multiple of 6, it is printing multiple of 3, it is printing fees, like this way. Okay, so only when that number is multiple of 5 and 3 both, so then fees bars is printing. All right, so this is the output. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So where is that screen? Okay. The last one, that is also on based on list comprehension, to create a list of first letters of every word in the string below. So here it is trying to get this first letter C, A, L, O, T, F. So all these first letters from every word from this string using list comprehension. You can write it in different other ways also. You don't need to use list comprehension, but you can do it in your algorithm, in your own way. You can write a code to get this first letter of this sentence. Okay, so these 4-5 small codes are there. You can try and you can write this at home. I will
The
share this.
list comprehension,
Yes.
which code? I mean, saying, sir, what code that differs? It is same as list.
No,
We'll
no,
use list and
no. For list comprehension, you should use for loop, and this is a decorator kind of thing. Whatever you are doing in for loop, and you can what I say, you can write that code in a simple way or in a one liner, you can say. Okay, so that's it. I can show you some example in the next class. Okay, of list comprehension, how we are going to use this list comprehension.
sir, is it like the one that you showed right now? I mean, that was a matrix that you
No, no, no,
took and
no, no, no,
blank list will create a blank list and
no, no, no.
by
That is
running in a for loop, not like
no,
that.
no, not like that. So it is a kind of thing where you can generate the values of a list using for loop. Okay, so I will show you some example in the next class.
Manu sir, if we create a blank list and in the for loop, if we split it and extract the first letter of each word by indexing and add it to that list by plus command. So will that be the will
No,
that
that is a
and
simple
print it?
protocol. That
Not
is a
that.
simple algorithm. You can do it in that way.
Okay.
But list comprehension is something different. That 3-4 lines of code, you can write it in one line. Okay.
Okay.
You are comprehending that list. That's all. So that is another
Okay.
technique. So I will discuss this in next class. All right. So this is your homework. Now what next? Any question from this part or from this file handling or so? Okay. I'm not going to start the function thing because function is something different from this and I have only 10 minutes. So let's give you some tasks like write the question that suppose a file is given res.txt Okay, don't write that. Write that. I'm showing the question. Suppose the DNA equals this is given. Write the RNA in a file res.txt. Okay, so this is the question. So only 2-3 lines of code. I think you can tell me what you need to write. Sharing screen. Okay, is it visible? The question is, this DNA is given and write the RNA from this DNA in a file that is res.txt. File name is res.txt. So what you will write? Am I clear? The question is clear? Hello? Can you see this question?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So the DNA is given. Now you need to find out the RNA, and that RNA should be printed on a file, output file, that is named as res.txt. So that is a full stop. Don't include that full stop. Res.txt. Okay, can you do that? Very easy code. Can anyone tell me what I need to write for this? How you can start this code? Okay, I'm
Sir,
giving.
first we need to open that res.txt in write w
Right.
mode.
Okay.
Then
So
we
what will be the
will.
command? One by one. So what will be the command?
Uh, is it, sir, already created that file name? If
No,
not,
no.
then X.
No, it is not created. You are just opening that file in write mode. You have said that. So
Okay. F dot f equals to open in
open.
brackets res dot txt
Right.
comma in
Quotes W.
in quotes w.
Okay, fine. In next line. So next line.
Next line we need to edit that.
So now what is your goal?
To change that DNA into RNA
Right.
and add it in that.
Yes. So for that you need to write this, because this is already given, this part. G, G, C, C, T, T, A, A. This is your given DNA, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, how
So-
you can modify this DNA?
Replace
Replace.
thymine with T with U.
Okay.
T,
So T, sorry,
capital T,
T with U.
U.
If you run this, will it work? Think logically.
DNA dot replace.
Very good. DNA dot replace. Now, if you print, you are trying to check that whether it is working. So you can check by this, right?
Hmm.
So you check, and you can see that the RNA is created because all the T are replaced by U. That's all. Now, next what?
Add it in that. Add RNA in that.
So how,
res.txt.
so how can you do that? What will be the command?
Okay.
Very easy.
Dot append command.
No need to append. You
No,
are
no.
trying to write something. So instead of print, you need to write. Now, where it will write?
Res.txt.
Res.txt. Now, res.txt. Now, file handler name is what?
F. Sorry, sir.
F.
F.
So f dot write.
Right.
And if you run this, what will happen? You are not seeing anything here because the print command is omitted. Now you go back to the directory and you check that. Where is that? Where you are running that code? It is file Python. Okay. So here, file Python. So here res.txt. Find out the res.txt. This one. Okay. Go back. Where is the problem? You should find out. What is the problem? Nothing is written in that file, but the file is created.
Not closed.
Very good. So f dot close. Now you run again. You go back. You check that file res.txt. Now it is written. That's all. You understood the file handling. Simple case.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today this much. So there are some more examples are given in this file also. I probably have already given this thing. Okay. So try to understand this logic, and you can run it from your machine so that you can understand that what is going on in this code. Okay. So there are multiple codes are given based on this simple problem, file handling problem, and okay. Any more questions? If not, so then we will meet next week on Tuesday. Okay. Bye now.